All right, for this problem, we have a November 1st, 2017 Gallup poll reported a 95% confidence interval for the true proportion of U.S. adults in favor of the way Donald Trump is handling his job at 0.3547 to 0.4155. So somewhere between 35.47% and 41.55%. So that would mean my lower bound is 0.3547 and my upper bound is 0.4155. All right. And so my margin of error, if you remember from one of the previous problems we did, is just the upper bound minus the lower bound divided by 2. Because it's how far apart they are, and you split that in half because you start in the middle and how far they go in each direction is called the margin of error. So it would be 0.4155 minus 0.3547 divided by 2. And I'm going to do that in a Desmos Scientific Calculator here. So I'm going to use my fraction A over B there, and I get 0.4155 minus 0.3547 divided by 2. And I get 0.0304 is my margin of error. 0.0304 is the margin of error. So there is my margin of error. All right, the next thing I need to do is find Z star. And you find Z star based on the confidence interval on your Z star chart, which you will be provided with on your Z star chart. So let me pull up the Z star chart real quick. And so yeah, you'll probably remember this chart. This is what it looks like right here. And for a 95% confidence interval, the Z star is 1.96. Because remember, in the problem they said 95%. So the Z star at 95% is equal to 1.96. So there's my Z star at 1.96. And my standard error would be found like this. So margin of error is equal to standard error times Z star, which means standard error is equal to margin of error over Z star. And I'm going to use that to find it. So what is margin of error divided by Z star? So it'd be 0.0304 divided by 1.96. So 0.0304 divided by 1.96. And so I'm going to do that. 0.0304 divided by, 0.03404 divided by 1.96. 0.0155 would be my answer there. 0.0155. So the standard error equals 0.0155. So there's my margin of error. There's my standard error. And is this convincing evidence that more than 36% of people are in favor of Trump? So for it to be convincing evidence, the entire interval would need to be above 36%, because then it would be convincing, because that would mean it's not even in that possible interval for it to be 36. So we'd have convincing evidence that it's actually higher than 36, right? So since 0.36, 36%, is included in the interval, we do not have convincing evidence that the true proportion is 36%. I mean, is higher than 36%. My bad. 36%. We do not have convincing evidence that it's higher because 36 is inside of the proportion. Now, if they would have said 35 right here, convincing evidence it's more than 35, we would have convincing evidence because this entire thing is above 35. But since it is included in the interval, we do not have convincing evidence. So that would be my final answer on number 19.